All right, hello, folks. Welcome to Bars and Books, and welcome to another episode of Leveling Up with Nick. So, this is episode 14.
It's a good book.
Yeah.
Excited.
Solid book.
Great story. Glad to be talking about it.
So, this is volume 3, Vortena. So, we've got chats for the first two books already. You can check that out. What are your thoughts on this one? How does it compare to the previous two?
I feel this is where the series really starts to take off. If things start to really get interesting. A lot of those, first few books, I feel are kind of very self-contained books, where after this is where it kind of starts to kind of build up the character of Boxy T. Morningwood and really start to see some growth, and really it shows, how skills affect the world and the characters. So, and it really builds the world up a little. It also shows how, magic works and gods work and a little bit more in that sense of the word, how much effect these gods have on this world.
I thought this was I loved it, but man, was this one intense. It's got if you thought
something
book 1 and 2 were triggering, this is like on a whole other level. This just takes it up a huge notch.
You gotta this is there's some things that happen in this book and you're just like, wow, I gotta take a breath for a second here. Feel bad for some of these characters. It's like
I mean, the first two, it's different with the addition of Fizzy. Fizzy is just you really sympathize with this character more because she's like the most, I know she's not a human, she's a gnome, but like it's still kind of the same. She's like a actual person. She's not a demon or anything,
just a young person too, going through a lot already with the passing of her parents, and Boxy makes her feel bad, like it's all her fault kind of thing.
Brutal, man. Lots of trauma. Filled with trauma, this one.
You gotta, it really shows you, it's like, this is, the hero of this book, the main character of this book, is not a good person. It's never been a good person. It's a monster. It's at the end of the day, you're like, this is, I want to see this thing succeed. At the end of the day, you're like, that's really terrible, man. Holy crap. So
you can see how it would turn a lot of people off, and they just could not handle this kind of thing. I mean, I still enjoyed this one. I still enjoyed it a lot, like just as much, if not more, than the first two. And I'm so stoked to see where the story's going to go, because we get some huge developments in this one. And I can imagine some of the later books you probably enjoyed more, because you've been hyping up book 4 for me for a while. You're like, you got to get to book 4. It starts to get really amazing. Like, it takes a huge leap.
Jeff Hayes really takes it to another level next book, so I'm really excited to start that.
I felt like he took it up a notch here too. There was a lot more effects and like stuff that we didn't get a whole lot of from the first two. So he is definitely improving. It's like, makes me wonder if this was like his first series that he narrated. I don't know.
I know that it's one of his earlier ones he was doing, So but I'm not sure if it was his first one or not. I know this is one of the ones that people always go to when I talk about him, at least, what I've seen on YouTube for Jeff Hayes. But I'm a big fan of it. The way he does all his voices too, it's just so amazing.
It's fantastic.
And it's all him. He doesn't like use voice changers or anything like that. He just he can just put that on and be Fizzy and
it's
be
incredible.
Whatever. It is really cool.
All right, so let's go through this. We'll start with the prologue, where we get Edward's team. We met Edward, that what was he, like a level 100 rogue or spy or something?
Yeah, he was a level 100 rogue, and then he's working on, he's like a level 80 spy master or something that.
Yeah. So we get a look at his team, some of his team members. Hook, from the Gilded Hand, I believe. They're
that's their group, is the Gilded Hand.
Right.
And he's like a psionic, which is he like does mental magic and can like cause like fear and panic and like go into people's minds and root around memories.
Talk about the perfect skill for like an investigator.
Or a torturer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So he uses that skill to like gather images of the scene, how Boxy escaped, Boxy and Fizzy.
mm-hmm.
And I love how Edward is just propping up this war with the elves. He's still blaming everything on the Ishigar
Mm-hmm.
elves, to further this war effort. Because
he wants to level up his skills. If he's during war, he can level up his spy master, because
right.
people have a limited lifespan. But if he gets that class up to 100, then he'll be immortal. They also do mention later other characters that are in there was a Gilded Hand.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah,
that's where it starts off.
Yeah,
Very
that's
interesting.
Quick prologue there.
Yeah.
And we get to chapter 1 of Gnomes and Monsters. So I think this starts with Boxy dispatching a group of satyrs. Satyrs?
Yeah.
Satyrs.
Yeah.
Forcing Fizzy to kill some and level up. And man, he really starts to put Fizzy through the grinder here, because like weak attempts and hesitation result in fairly regular beatings.
Yeah.
And
very like drill sergeant-esque,
yeah, poor Fizzy.
Very much.
She gets little sleep, she's little food, because she's the only one that really requires it in this group she's with. I mean, you got a monster who can go long periods of time without it. And you got demons and like a lich. So
the first one doesn't even have the demons in it. It's just him, and he's lost all his because he doesn't have his 2 classes, so his intelligence level is been brought back down to like when he left the first dungeon, right?
Yeah.
So when he left the first dungeon, he was not a very smart box, he was very much just emotion, kill, eat, consume, grow stronger, and he didn't really have that intelligence score, so he's basically back to that point.
Yeah. So for being back to that point, I guess you could say it's not as bad as what could have happened, to Fizzy. So
yeah, I mean,
when you bring up that point, that's a very good point, because I forgot about that. So yeah, I mean, I here I am thinking, man, he's so brutal, but being back to that stage, it's like that's actually not bad considering what he did to some other people like Snack,
Oh yeah, he's back to being a wild animal, basically.
But it's still, oh man, it's still just difficult to listen to sometimes.
You feel real bad for her.
But I like how he really kind of trains her in a bit of a hunter sort of style, where it's like, look, your weakness and your hesitation is causing more suffering to these creatures that we're, facing. So you need to be quick and thorough, and just put them out of their misery as quick as you can.
That's like it's a good idea to have when you're in that like hunting kind of mindset.
Yeah.
I even say he's doing it. He's not doing it because he feels or cares for those animals. They just don't taste as good if they've suffered. So,
but honestly, Fizzy's getting some very interesting abilities. She gets the holy light ability, where she's able to just heal herself constantly, right?
Yeah.
It heals the living and it damages undead.
Yes.
Which is going to be very useful considering what they go through right after. But it's just tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
Listen to her like level up while getting beaten all the time.
And then she also has a chaotic disposition kind of spell as well, that when she defeats something, all of a sudden she's kind of forced to say something crazy, like socks for the sock god, or
right. That was funny, yeah.
For chaos, yeah. And it's just like, she's tortured in the state, and then she's forced to smile and laugh and sing the song or do something like that, and then go right back to being miserable. She's got no power over it.
But yeah, I mean, this constant abuse really morphs her into this soulless murderer. And remember that scene having to murder that innocent woman?
Yeah.
That they came upon in the bushes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's brutal.
She really goes through it in her mind, and like, oh, what did humans ever do to me? They never gave me any care. Why does it matter to me? It's just wrong place, wrong time, and it's not my fault. She's still gonna die, whether or not I do it or Boxy does it, because Boxy got a hold of her. There's no option. It's gonna happen. So well, yeah, you see her kind of grow in her fighting skill, fighting the wolf, and she's kind of like forced to fight things on her own, or if she can't do it, she gets like Boxy will like take them all down, but like leave 2 alive for her to finish off. God.
Yeah, and this is where she starts developing this need to be useful to Boxy, to please Boxy. Otherwise, bad things will happen.
You want to keep your usefulness to him, otherwise you're just a snack.
Yeah,
they'll just eat you, or torture you till you're useful again. Don't want to be left behind.
That's going on. They travel to the tower to fight the undead, right? And they meet the Lich Vortena, which is the title of this book. Valeria Vortena, that's her full name.
Yeah.
She kind of gets taken by surprise. And this was the mission that
Bob.
The god, Bob. We'll just call him Bob.
Or
the
Neil.
God Bob.
Melinda.
He had for them. And they explore the tower. They get this she like disappears. They get like this rematch with Vortena. And then in this bout of luck again, Boxy's like scrambling for escape and coincidentally captures her phylactery, which harbors or keeps her like her essence or her soul or whatever.
Her soul,
her soul.
Yeah.
And just by acquiring that, I guess she's defeated, right? Yeah, or she's under his control now.
Yeah, I think what is it? It's not. It didn't say kill the Lich; it said defeat the Lich. So he technically defeated her when he put it in his storage space, basically putting her soul in a different dimension, the dimension box, so that she just disappeared because she's no longer on that plane, I guess.
Yeah, I remember the first time I went through the book, I was genuinely surprised that it was Vortena. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is the same character. It's like cool. It's like, how the heck did this happen?
Yeah.
And then we come through that later, but after that, the mission is complete. So Boxy gets all his skills and levels back.
Yeah, goes back up, talks to Bob, the god of dice rolls or whatever, and he's happy, but he's not like super stoked like Boxy's like thinking like, why aren't you happy? Are you sad that I won? And he's like, well, yeah, kind of. You're kind of expected to win, and you had all the good things, but it's like I just wanted you to surprise me, die, I guess.
Yeah. I guess that's how, because we learned that this god, he's always rooting for the underdog. That's the character he likes, is the underdog. So
not even that, just a random as well,
I guess that's how you keep it interesting with the underdog, because if he starts winning all the time, he's not really the underdog anymore, is he? So you got to keep it interesting. And I really wonder if that's going to come back to bite Boxy later in the series.
I mean, I wouldn't surprise me, but so he gets a bunch of skills and becomes the hero, the god of hero of chaos.
Right.
It's basically his kind of boon for doing this job is he gets his warlock class back, all his intelligence points. He gets his
artificer.
Artificer. He gets his artificer skill back, and he gets the hero of chaos boons.
He's a hero of chaos. He's also got this agent of chaos thing.
Agent of chaos.
Like
yes.
2 different things.
I think they're kind of like attached.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he gets that random possibility thing. So every time he uses a spell? Or...
Yeah, I believe it's a spell. It has to be a spell. Yeah.
Every
So it's like if he starts stabbing something, random stuff isn't going to happen, or just walking down the street. It's only when magic happens and like some goofy hijinks happens because of that.
Yeah.
I
think the funniest is when he got that top hat random for a few seconds. He's got a top hat. Oh man, you got to picture that.
It's so good.
Yeah, so he gets all that. He also gets a mask
Mm.
in case,
But not a physical mask, but
no,
like
it's like to block out
masking.
appraisals.
Yeah, he's got a masking skill. So
Masking, right? Masking skill to block, to alter his appraisal status for appraisals or something, right?
Exactly. It's, I guess, for like a lot of, say you're the hero of chaos, you don't want to let everybody know that you're the hero of chaos. So if you're the hero of death or the hero of, whatever, you don't want everybody to know that if you want to be going into town, or you might have some odd skills on you, or murder skills if you're the god of death or something like that. That's why they had that hiding ability, but it works really well in Boxy's favor.
Oh man,
he's
huge benefit for him, considering considering what he is and where he goes and stuff. But
yeah,
I thought it was really funny when Fizzy met the demons as well.
Yeah.
She first meets the demons and discovers their hobby. Right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
A lot of crudeness. That reminds me, there's a lot more crudeness in this book. The demons doing their thing more.
Oh yeah.
Right off the bat, and that was one of the things.
Really go into like deep description about it or anything like that, but they definitely talk about it a lot. Like
description. It's just especially when like Cora's asking permission from the boss.
Yeah.
Anyways, after he gets all his skills back, we come to an interlude, the Shadow of Death, and this is where we learn the history behind this new addition to the party, Vortena. We learn how she became a lich, because I told you when we first found her, like, how the heck did that happen? So we discover her past, how she became a spirit after her death due to her I guess taboo. She was like, a necromancer, and just
the other hobby that she had,
right? Yeah, that other questionable hobby. So the dungeon turned her into a banshee, right? And then from there,
she like lived in the dungeon being a banshee for a while until she, I guess, leveled up into too high, and it was kicked out of the dungeon, basically the same way as Boxy was, basically.
Yeah, but you look at her past and you're just like, man, this is trauma filled too, man. Like the abuse that she went through, and leading up to her adventuring
career.
She inhabits bodies until she arrives at her old home, recovers her uncle's journal of the undead, which I guess now that she's dead can utilize fully. And then she travels to that old tower, uses an old phylactery, and becomes a lich. And then we get that scene with Boxy pleasuring everybody, and
shape-shifting practice,
right? Including Fizzy against her will. And I just, like, multiple times throughout this series, I can't tell you how many times I just had to say, like, poor Fizzy, man. Poor Fizzy. Man. So this is like the peak of her trauma, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure.
This is where it all changes.
And it wasn't even like an on-purpose thing. It was just like, shape-shifting practice. I got to level up,
right.
He's just moving all his tentacles or whatever.
Didn't even think about it.
No. Not even an afterthought. Oh, you're the same as them. Yeah, here, grab you.
And then we have Operation Tasty Cock. I love man, what's her name? Snack?
Yeah.
Man, she really came through with a lot of humor in this.
Did you write down what the abbreviation is?
Yes. So she came up with this. Chesting or cheap killing. That's the abbreviation for cock, tasty cock, because he likes tasty things, and this abbreviation.
Yep.
Oh man.
Gotta make it. I don't know why they needed abbreviations in the first place, but I think that's just, it might be just a Snack, screwing around.
Yeah. I love how even though he's their master, they just kind of screw with him in these subtle ways that's like, just harmless kind of.
Oh yeah. No, it's super funny.
But here, we discover more of how Fizzy is the only one in need of a normal sustenance and rest. And
she
I
gets
guess,
really worn out. She's at the end of her
yeah,
fucking leash at a certain point, you know.
it's like, look, I'm a regular person. I require food. I require rest, a normal amount, even more so being a gnome, because she has a
Got
lot
little
of
legs.
rest, right?
Yeah, she's got little legs, man.
From the previous book, yeah. And she's stuck here with a monster, 2 demons, and a lich. So this is when Boxy takes a little bit more pity on her and gives her.
He's got his intelligence back as well. So he's
Right.
kind of like realizes, oh, it's probably not the best way to kind of teach somebody or, have somebody follow you and not try to backstab you. It's probably not beating the crap out of them. I should probably try to be a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
And on the same side, he's just like, but it worked, so why stop now? So
Yeah, that's the dilemma. The biggest laugh out loud moment here for me was when Zira or Snack tampers with Fizzy's mind while she slept. And she just she thinks Cora's name is Bitch Face McWeak Sauce.
Yeah.
It's like, what? That's your name? And then
Oh my
her own
God.
name is Cornhole Jizz Bucket. Oh man.
Oh
Corny Fizzle Sprocket.
yeah.
Cornhole Jizz Bucket.
Oh my
man.
God. It's too funny. It's always like that. It's a little bit of like, oh, a terrible situation, and then it's like, that's funny though.
Yeah.
that's kind of funny what they said there. It's a
I
little bit
guess,
about both
for
back and forth.
it's interesting for extreme situations, like when you go through extreme circumstances that are thought-provoking and like a little traumatizing, I guess you need that extreme humor to balance it out. Maybe that's why it works for me. That could just be me, but it works.
I think it works too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, and then right after that, Fizzy beats the crap out of Zero. So she's gaining some confidence. She's not taking. She's starting to take less crap.
Yeah. With help from Cora.
Right.
No, yeah. Cora holds her down.
Yeah. But you see, like, this is like she's really, really altering her
She's
personality.
taking the monster lessons to heart,
Yeah. After that, Boxy from Zira again learns to blend in a little more with this, I guess, this false empathy he starts to acquire just to seem to fit in a little more, with the populace that he's going to be interacting with more.
Yeah, he's taking like lessons from Cora, or sorry, not Cora, Zira.
Zira, yeah.
Just kind of like espionage, kind of like doesn't really know human emotion or anything like that.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have facial expressions and stuff he struggles with.
And he apologizes to Fizzy for that incident, which is more than I would have ever expected from him. So,
yeah. I mean,
it obviously doesn't change things, but
he also doesn't really mean it.
Did she take it as like? Did she know that he's just pretending, or did she take it in a serious way?
A little bit of both. It's like he's like, at least he doesn't really care, but at least he's trying, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of way. Like it's like, okay, well, at least he realizes that's what you're supposed to do.
And he also starts giving her more breaks and stuff, being a little more, It's like, okay, you need to rest and recover. Fair enough.
I was thinking like how she would always talk. The Jaffays would like voice her. It's just like she's like just shaky voice and like stuttering. It's like
she's got a huge stutter. Yeah, the stuttering.
Beaten down. Yeah, very beaten down sounding. Always sounds like on 2 seconds away from crying, and it's very like oof.
Yeah. After that goes on, they do the assault on the Jade Tower, right? So the golems.
It's a dungeon. Yeah.
Yeah, they I thought it's funny when you learn that they become enraged when their shafts are broken.
And
it's like, oh, the shafts aren't spears, they're actually
yeah. I mean, yeah, I'd be pretty mad too. you know?
Yeah, you would. That's true. But it's like,
But
okay,
yeah,
I didn't know golems had those. I
yeah,
guess so.
and they use basically also Vortana is working with them, so she has this army of undead that
Mm,
she had farmed up while Fizzy was taking a break, you know,
right.
and so they're able to use these. I think she had like Dull Hands and um was it Death Knights and stuff and
Yeah, yeah,
Skeletal Mages. So it's really like they had a full force to attack the base, you know, or
yeah,
the dungeon. Kind of made
yeah.
things a lot easier for them.
And it was a cool coordination when they were battling the gargoyles. I thought that was
Hmm.
just interesting, like teamwork
Oh yeah.
dynamic going on there. So, they're forming into a very cohesive unit, I guess you could
Yeah.
say. And then that's where they acquire the skull staff,
Hmm.
which comes into
And
play a bit later.
Boxy experiences a loss probably for the one of the second time in the series.
Ah, okay.
This the gilded chest.
Right, right. Yes.
Yeah, this all the chests. They had all these stone chests in the yard, but as soon as they you get the items out of it, the chest will disappear. Poor Boxy, this beautiful gold gilded chest, opens up when you beat the mini boss, the dungeon, the
Right. Yeah.
gargoyles,
Yeah.
and he's ecstatic. He's like basically making out with it, licking it, all this stuff. They're all like everybody on his team are just like staring wide-eyed, like, what is happening? What the
Yeah.
heck?
Yeah.
And then of course it disappears, which
Hmm.
breaks poor Boxy's heart.
And then I love how he's basically combined his spells with his artificing, right?
Yet he's basically he like made a bunch of bombs and like Fissy was taking a rest because there's a lot of steps. Again, little
Right.
legs.
Yeah.
He's like, before we fight this boss, I need a break. And he's like, fine, I'm gonna. He starts doing I think it was power overwhelming spell with crystallized magic,
Yeah.
and is basically making big boom balls. And
Right.
then while he's doing that, he's making bombs while he's waiting for his MP to regenerate.
Yeah. Dark explosion bombs.
Yes.
Very interesting how he's combining all these things.
Yeah, it's like 3 spells together, right? Like,
Hmm.
yeah, Dark Explosion, Power Overwhelming, so it's like overcharges it, and
Hmm.
then Crystallized Magic, so that he can just like basically put it in a spell crystal, and save it for later.
Yeah. And then right in the middle of the boss's speech, he gets wiped out by those bombs.
Oh yeah, just starts hawking him, boom, 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 go, 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 and then I think they leave the room, and they go in and check again, and he's defeated the boss before he's even able to do anything, even finish
Before he
his
can finish
speech.
his boss speech.
Yeah.
It's like, ah. No, that was funny. Does that, he acquires this cursed gauntlet,
Hmm.
right? This gauntlet, something's fishy about it. It's cursed. And they go for the dungeon core again.
Yeah.
He just
And
wants the
like
dungeon core.
Fizzy and Vortana are just like, what are you doing? I mean, that's
Yeah.
clearly not how you like get that out. And it's like,
Mm.
no, that's how you do it. And she's like, basically, of course, like whacking it, punching it. It's like, yeah, so excited to punch stuff.
Having a blast, yeah.
Yeah.
So they get that.
Hmm.
Busy gains some faith in the god she worships as she realizes how life-saving her class is and her
Yeah.
abilities are. So you see a little bit of faith upgraded in her.
Yep.
Oh,
And she
so
also like they test out this gauntlet, right?
yeah,
And then I guess she finds that like, I'm tired of being soft and squishy and
yeah,
tired of all these emotions. And she's like, why don't I just become a golem then and take that cursed gauntlet? And basically she promises herself to Boxy to be his minion.
yeah. She
And
pledges her allegiance.
yeah,
She
using
insists on having it because she just wants to wipe out all feeling
yeah,
from her. But so that was I mean, you understand it for sure, and it's like it wasn't expected, you know, because it's like, what are they going to do with this cursed gauntlet?
Mm-hmm.
And so the way she gets it, she becomes this metal golem. It's pretty cool,
Oh yeah,
and kind of sad. The reason for it is very sad, but
it
but
just it really changes her character, and it's a big turning point for her. You
yeah,
know.
definitely, she acquires, what does she acquire? Metalopathy,
Yep, mental
some
apathy,
bunch of
and
stuff.
yeah.
It's like she also gets like this stillness effect, which is ideal for her artificer skill, right? You gotta like
Mm.
still hands like a surgeon, right?
Yep,
Something like that.
exactly. And
Um,
then with the metalopathy, she's able to like feel like she was wearing a rusty chainmail, and
hmm,
she basically feels itchy because she could feel the rust and she can feel the
okay,
metal. You know,
okay. Does that
really
have anything
cool.
to do with why she keeps undressing herself? Or
Uh
that's something
that's
totally
more of a golem thing.
a
You know,
golem
it's
thing?
part of
Okay,
her being a monster. It's just kind of
okay,
like it kind of gives her this, you know, basically like the sin of pride. It's just
okay.
kind of like worship. Look at me. I appreciate how beautiful I am. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's
Because
kind of
that got me when I started seeing that. I'm like, huh, what is the reason for this? Why does
it's
she keep
just
undressing herself without realizing? It's
just
a
a
golem thing.
monster thing. Like
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a little odd for me. I'm like, is this a golem thing? I guess it's a golem thing because the only interaction we had with golems was in the Jade Tower,
Hmm.
and
On the
didn't
outside,
didn't
yeah.
really come across anything like that.
Oh yeah, they were all naked.
They were all naked.
Yeah,
Okay,
the Jade King, but the Jade King was made all out of jade, so technically
yeah,
he was still technically naked. He wasn't wearing anything on top of it. It was just jade all the way through.
yeah. So after that, she gets all that, but she also gets praised. This was significant. She got praised by the
Boxy.
demons and Boxy, and
Hmm.
they gave her some praise. This is like a first time you've seen them actually have some sort of positive input for her. Like it's like a wow. So I would imagine she would really be thinking that she made the right choice and just going with this metal golem thing solidly now.
I think for her as well, it's like kind of a finding a new path. It's like starting a new job or moving to a new city.
Mm,
It's like, okay, now I can kind of put that past behind me and I have something new to focus on.
yeah,
I've gotten, I don't have to worry about these feelings. I don't have to feel pain
yeah,
anymore when I'm from fighting these monsters or, getting beaten by Boxy. I don't have to worry about that anymore. It's
yeah,
just 'cause I'm a piece of steel.
yeah.
Steel doesn't feel.
And I mentioned that I'm pretty sure she'll have a very significant role to play in the future.
Mm,
And we actually get a little teaser of this because we
yeah.
find out that this is the birth of the Rustblood Juggernaut.
Mm-hmm. What a
So
cool name.
that sounds epic. So now we're on chapter 3, where they train a bit in this Jade Tower, right? They fight some more, Fizzy acquires some more levels and skills. She gets like this heavy metal, which is
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. Very metal.
And this armored charge, where she like, I guess it's like this sprinting charge thing, right? Like
Yeah. They're all just
faster
trying to
movement.
like level up and like train a bit more.
Yeah,
Boxy's trying to get to level 50 so he
right.
can evolve.
We learn about this MLG gland. This or is it ML gland? MLG.
MLG,
Yeah.
yep.
And it's for like,
Mandalocator gland.
help me out here. Is that like for retaining the identity of the being, or
Well, so the MLG is like it's mandalocating gland. So it's what mimics use instead of eyes to sense the things around them. They
okay?
can sense mana and you can kind of like it's basically like sonar.
But the reason for him cutting it out and then like storing it and putting it back later
Well,
was to retain that ability
yeah,
in his
basically. He
next form.
wasn't sure if he was going to be able to make one or have
Okay.
one in his next body, but he wanted to make sure he did. Because part of the reason
Right.
is Fizzy was able to, uh, because she has this pride thing, this wanting to be seen thing, and Boxy has this MLG where he's able to like even look inside of her and see her core and all this stuff, and it makes her feel really good because it's like, oh God, look, he's witnessing me. He says I'm shiny, and he says that he likes, you know, and it makes her feel good. Gives her self-worth. So she's worried that he's not going to have that when he changes.
He's got that men flesh, so without that, he wouldn't be able to do that.
I couldn't imagine cutting into myself to like that.
It's brutal. Yeah.
Do your own appendicitis? Probably not.
yeah. No, but this is where he goes through his ranking up, right? So he does ranking up right after, and then Vortena, the big betrayal, she invades his mind. And I thought it was really cool how Zero is protecting him. Like, she just automatically protecting his mind with and inflicting these like pain memories on Vortena of Boxy's pain that he's experienced because he's in her mind. That was really cool. And then you discover that before that, Zero has to hold on to her phylactery. And it's like, where is the phylactery? It's, of course, it's up there.
Yeah. But it's kind of like, it really shows too, like usually a demon doesn't want, doesn't really care for their summoner, wants them to die.
Would never do something like this.
Yeah. They're not usually there to take care of them. Albeit, I guess Vortena's plan was to basically would take over his body and unsummon them, or make them kill Fizzy and then unsummon them, and then be free reign, take over him. But at any rate, not with them around. She had planned it ahead.
Yeah, but I'm glad that it took a bit of a huge turn there, because she was acting all lovey-dovey with Boxy, and then you realize that was all a facade, and it's like good. This is very interesting, because you can't have every single character he's around just fall in love with him like that. Like the demon, like Zira, and then you got the Lich, and even Fizzy was getting more comfortable with him, and everybody just seems to kind of start
wanting his attention.
Yeah. So it was a nice change.
It was kind of interesting too, that it was kind of like a little twist where it's like there's nothing, they didn't say anything to make it seem like Vortena wants to do this. Yeah. Like before that point.
Yeah.
It always seems like, oh, there was a change, her eye color changed, and the little gem in her chest changed color, and that's why she's doing this. But no, that was all just a plan in her head to get Boxy, get his guard down.
Yeah, but it doesn't pay off, and she is destroyed. So after that, he does rank up to a doppelganger. I thought that was cool. I really like the rank up parts, because it's like, oh, what's he going to choose? This is interesting. Yeah. Right, you got the 2 slime options and then doppelganger. And then he kind of misses being a chest, right? So he takes on that form still, I think.
Yep, he just basically starts off as that. He's like, he sits down in the fetal position. He's just like, I miss being a chest. It's like, okay, well, be a chest then. Oh, yeah. And then turns into a chest.
Yeah.
I like that too. I like that. When the first time you read it, was it like, did you know what he was going to be? Did you have any kind of clue? Do you think he was going to be the doppelganger? Did you think maybe he'd be a slime?
I had a feeling it would be doppelganger. It's just the outlier, the odd one out. And it's like he kept saying how like there might have been reasons for this 2 slime options, but like it's just the doppelganger one was just would be a weird option. Yeah. And it's like, oh, he's probably going to choose that one. So yeah, I remember.
But it really works for his character.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially if he wants to go to town and stuff, right? So
yeah, of course, yeah. So that's going to help a lot with the shape shifting, like stuff like that. So, but after that, it seems like Fizzy's not really afraid or scarred by Boxy anymore. There's a huge shift there, because she decides she supports him wholeheartedly.
Yep.
Right, and he does he cleans her with his tongue or something. Yeah. He does this cleaning session.
She's almost looking for praise from him now. She's like, what can I do to make him more happy with me? you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
I keep thinking, it's like, is some more Stockholm syndrome going on?
yeah, I have a feeling there's a lot of that.
And then we get to the interlude, another interlude, a Neighbourly Chat, which is an interesting one. We got the gods again, the Bob, the god of chaos, and he's
Introducing some
joined
new
by
gods.
Goroth. Yeah, Goroth and Lunar,
Mm-hmm.
because Goroth doesn't believe that Boxy could have taken out his Jade Tower
Yeah.
like that. He's like, let me see the tape. You're like, I'll show you the
Yeah.
tape. Let's get Lunar here to approve it.
Make sure there's no magic funny business, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I think originally he's like, why don't we get Teresa in here? Because she's the god of like truth and lies or whatever.
Yeah.
And
But there's this very significant tidbit at the end of that, because we realized, this chaos god is was he powerful enough? Because he mentioned the previous generation of gods. Was he powerful? Did he they disappeared? It's like, did he have something to do with taking up the previous generation of gods, and now there's a new one? It's
like a little
like, what is
hidden
going on?
lore
Yeah.
tidbit there where it's like, oh yeah, these guys think that they're like the gods of this world, like all powerful beings, but
Yeah.
they don't even know. We're the
Yeah.
oldest, like him and Luna were the oldest, but this was like he was there before any of them,
Yeah.
you know. And
Yeah.
there's a reason before that. There's maybe another pantheon or something before, and he's wiped everything clean, maybe.
And I
Or
guess so. You think about it, like chaos and possibility and like just randomness. It's like, you think about before time and space, and it's just
stars and
a lot of
gases and
mythology or stuff. It's like there was chaos before everything, right? So
Mhm.
you could it makes sense how he's the
Yeah.
oldest thing. So very interesting. I want to see. I'm sure we'll get more of the gods interactions, and that's just so cool, though.
Yeah, some of my favorite like characters, are the gods. They do a very good job doing them. I think Fizzy being a metal golem, paladin, gnome is such an interesting mix. Like you wouldn't think of that. Like, if it's like
Yeah,
somebody's random D&D character or something like that, like somebody's screwing around with a character creator. What's
yeah,
the three most weird and different things to put together, you know?
yeah. That's pretty unique for sure.
Yeah. I like that. It's like kind of like having a tank, but like having it be a gnome instead of,
Yeah,
or like
instead
an
of something
elf
big.
tank,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
having like an orc healer.
yeah. But yeah, so after he becomes a doppelganger, Boxy, we get to chapter 4. Death comes in many shapes, and this is like, so he's at it now. He's shapeshifted he's taken the form of this young elf, Chester Underwood, and he assassinates an entire village, while he familiarizes himself with his new class
Yep.
or his new race and whatever.
He's very hungry after he changed, so
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
got to
So
fill his stomach.
wiped out a whole village. Yeah, and then he passes the appraisal test to enter the dwarf settlement of
Boot split.
Boot Split. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then he encounters the Beholder. That was cool to see a Beholder.
Yeah.
I like Beholders.
More of the demons universe, the amount of demons that they have,
Right.
different types.
The Beholder actually helps him out, and he doesn't report him. He's like,
Yeah.
"No, this is interesting. By the way, you're doing a few things wrong here." So he fixes himself. It's like, oh, that's convenient.
Yep.
And he gets appraised. Like for example, when the guy was taking his appraisal, he's 17 fish
Yeah.
old. It's like, no, wait, 17 years old. Let me change that.
Yeah. He's just
Um,
fooling around with it, trying to figure it out before.
right.
And it's like, oh,
And he had
yeah.
that patch for the Brotherhood of the Third Eye.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wait a minute, you got to change that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he appraises his staff from Grimebeard, this warlock trainer.
Yeah. And he also gets his level past 25 now because he was stuck
Yeah,
at 25. He
yeah,
couldn't get it past without a
right,
trainer. And he couldn't get a
right.
trainer unless he, gets a scribe to check him out first. So
Yeah,
he couldn't do that because he's a monster.
yeah. But I like how, since he's so new to all of this, he gets put into some situations like Grindbeard calls a hit on him because he's got like this powerful staff. The hit goes miserably wrong. He wipes out everybody.
Yep.
And then he has his retribution on the Honeydew Cartel through his impersonation. It was really cool how he impersonated one of them to get back to the hideout and then just wiped them all out, right?
Yeah, snuck into the base, got right deep in there, took the head off the snake, basically killed the boss. What is it, Grandma Honeydew or whatever?
Yeah, the grandma, yeah. Plus, he wipes out Grindbeard too, which is good. You got to get rid of that guy too.
Kill everybody.
He also has that second appraisal from the elf lady, where
there's an elf lady in the crafting sector.
He gets his groove on.
He gets his groove on. He pays for it, not with money. He's a man of the streets now.
Yeah.
Red light district.
Oh yeah. But that's like approaching the end. So basically, right after that is this ritual he performs, the offering to Leah Solra.
Really interesting too, because he's about to do it, and he's just like, do you think she'll be mad and like try to kill me like a Punchy was, or what was his name again?
Yeah. Well, Punchy. Punchy. His name was Punchy. Yeah.
But and they're like, well, what if you made an appointment like you're supposed to? And you're like, well, I was supposed to make an appointment. And then gets to call Carl, and Carl's like, oh yeah, I guess people are supposed to do that, but nobody does. Makes an appointment, and well, what did you think about that ritual? I love those little kind of like tidbits like that in there.
Yeah, that was funny. It's like, you're supposed to make an appointment, but nobody does.
Yeah,
that's genius.
Yeah, I was just mad because you interrupted his tic-tac-toe game.
Things got a little complicated there because he summoned her, and then he just wakes up with a note from this, shy Leah Solra, not wanting to show herself, and the whole place is now ice or covered in snow. It's like, it's like, what the hell happened?
Magical ice froze everybody around, and he just. What did you think about the actual acting of the ritual, though?
The thing he was chanting, the stuff he was chanting, I was like, oh, okay.
I believe
it's kind of funny, but it was just kind of weird.
It's the Venga Boys.
The what?
The Venga Boys.
The Venga Boys?
Yeah. It's literally just a play on a song. So
okay. Yeah. Send me that. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it was one of those things where when I first heard it, I'm like, where is this from? This is clearly from something, right? Like it's the melody. Odd, like it's got a melody to it, and it's like different lyrics. It's like he's saying this demonic ritual in these tongues, but you can kind of like relate those words to other words. Like, that sounds familiar. What's going on here? And he's still got another ritual to do, but he wanted to do the ritual of unnatural wealth,
the unholy wealth.
Wealth.
Yeah. So he did get an item for that. He's like, oh yes, one more item.
Blood ruby or something like that.
Yeah.
But he has to wait for all the moons to be in the right spot.
But I'm just curious, what's up with Leah Solra? Why? She's just a shy demon.
Yeah, and the way she wrote her message too.
Yeah,
it's kind of like in a funny kind of text way.
But it just ends right there, and then we go to the epilogue, which is once again Edward Allen. Now they're investigating that town,
Boot Split. Yeah,
and he's got his buddy. What's his name? Question. What was up with Question? He's just like shitting all over Edward. It's all your fault, buddy. All your fault.
And lets him know it, and then, oh, you done? And then I think he kicks him in the head.
Yeah,
through a wall.
Changes its tone right after that. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Why?
Just starts talking like back to normal. Yeah. Big boot print on his face.
Yeah.
It's a good visual gag in audiobook form.
Yeah, but they conclude that Boxy has been escorted by the elves to the north, the Elven Nation, and they basically view this whole ice event as a threat.
Mm-hmm.
This is a threat. This is a warning from the elves.
It's almost like they're
Respond.
believing their own lies about the Republic. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah,
like feeding into themselves, and they're like, "Yeah, I knew it," even though you totally lied before. But they were very surprised at Boxy's name that he put in was Chester Underwood,
yeah,
which his was the reason why he did it was kind of like a joke on him being a chest and him being undercover.
Yeah,
Instead of, but like Underwood's is like a spy family name, you know,
yeah.
kind of like a 007 of.
But did he take the name of the one of the dudes he killed from the previous village? No,
Nope.
because he took his
He
form, right? He
took his form, but
not the
he
name.
murdered everybody in their sleep. So
Okay, it's the form, not the name. That was the epilogue, and then the very last part is Zone.
Mhm.
We've met already. Zone, one of the groups of the Gilded Hand,
Yep.
something like that. She's hiding the letter that Boxy got from Leosolra.
Yeah.
Right? And
It's
it's
kind
like,
of blurred, but she saw that it was like Dear Boxy on the thing, and she's really excited about that.
yeah, so apparently circumstances have changed for her. That's
Mm.
all we know. That's all we find out.
Yeah.
Circumstances have changed and she's just hiding this letter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what's going on with Zone?
But it seems like she's getting even more enthusiastic about this box.
And
For
she
whatever
kind of
reason.
knows. I mean, she questioned Buddy. She's like, you think there's any chance that this Chester Underwood elf could be Boxy? And they're like, no, right? Probably
No.
not.
What are the
But
chances?
but it's like she kind of knows, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm.
So
I think she has an inkling.
she has an inkling.
You know?
Yeah. There's an inkling.
She's putting these pieces together, but she seems to like kind of if they only listen to her a little bit better.
I just really want to know what circumstances have changed. That's all she
have
said.
to.
That's all she
You
said.
have to keep reading.
So I'm stoked for book 4. I can't wait.
Oh yeah. No.
And
Can't
it's
wait
going
to
to be
start
brand
that.
new for me.
Mm-hmm.
So
The continuation of the series.
yeah.
You've properly got yourself excited for it. You know.
Yeah.
I think book 4 is probably one of my favorite in the series.
Okay. So we're definitely going strong with this series. And you can check out all our other leveling up episodes. We've covered a few series by now. Dungeon Crawler Carl, Wandering In Book 1, He Who Fights with Monsters, NPCs, and now this series. So look forward to more, and we will see you all later.